419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Witro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen.
Gretchen DeBacker.
Matt Killam.
Gretchen just woke up.
I did.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
You were
I
like
just jumped to it.
fully reclined. I didn't realize that these chairs reclined.
Sprung to action.
They, you can sit way back in them.
Okay.
If you want.
Yeah. All right.
If you want to be chill.
Yeah. If you want to be, if you want to be chill.
My daughter
Gretchen,
says chill, and it's the most annoying thing.
Oh, I love it.
I hate it.
I taught it to her.
It reeked of you.
Yeah.
there's so many things that my kids say.
Yeah.
That I
What's
just,
like a thing that kids are saying now?
I love you, Dad. I'm like, shut the.
No,
So
it's all the
stupid.
things. So what I do to get them back is
You say 6, 7 to them?
No, well, they don't like that.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT to say, string together the most nonsensical, cringy,
I love it.
teen language sentence. And then I will just find a way during dinner to work that in.
Yeah.
And my daughter, I mean, you can just
Lose
see
it.
it right up her spine. Just does not like it at all.
Do they call
And,
you bro?
No, I have had some kids like on teams that I coach. I tell them like to do something. They're like, "Oh, bruh," and it's not bro. It's
bro,
BRUH.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
No, we know. We're cool.
"Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I am not."
I'll tell you, though, I also hate no worries, which is not just a youthful.
Oh.
I hate that so very much.
Because you do have
It's
worries?
ubiquitous. Well, that's my hate. It's like,
Yeah.
remember for the brief cultural experience of the no fear clothing.
Yes.
I'm like, this is those two things I link together, and I hate them both.
I had a former
with the fire
coworker
of
that
seven
would
sons.
say no worries.
But it
every
really was a
time
worry.
It meant I'm super annoyed with
Right,
you.
yeah.
And so now whenever I say no worries,
Yeah, you're being
what I
passive
mean
aggressive.
is like,
I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, sure, you don't have any worries, but now I have to worry about this.
Yeah, no worries. I'm like, yeah, well, that's just not.
Gretchen, it is.
It's my mystery
Talk
guest.
about worries.
Talk about worries.
It is your mystery guest
It is.
today.
It is.
Who are you bringing in? What's
You
their
guys
name?
aren't going to be able to handle it.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay, so I'm going to use some letters to describe this person, and we'll see if you guys can figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, this is a woman. I'll tell you right after that.
Okay.
Okay.
This person has an MS. They're an RN. They're an EMT. They're experienced with HIT. They're an ACLS, and they're an MOM.
What is ACLS?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Okay.
Okay. Those are my clues.
Well, this is a fun approach to this.
Yeah, I mean, it's
RN,
it's
you know what that
PBS.
is.
Yeah.
It's sponsored by some letters.
Yeah.
Sure, right.
We're today sponsored by the
RN,
alphabet.
I got it.
Mom.
Yep.
Mom. Yeah.
So MS, you probably could have potentially added the N afterwards, right? Are they MSN?
They're not on the network now.
No. But like Master of Science in Nursing?
Yes. Just Masters of Science. Yes. And then later nursing
Not
degree.
in nursing.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Because they are an
HIT
RN.
is a training.
Yep.
High intensity?
Nope.
Do you even know what these letters stand for?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
What do you think HIT stands for?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
These are the worst clues.
No, they're
you've
not. They're
ever
good.
given.
They're good.
The other worst clues you've ever given.
And this person has been doing this for 26 years.
Okay.
Just
Doing
spelling out
Doing
letters?
these things. Yep. With
Doing
all
these
these
things.
with all these letters behind
All
their
right,
name.
let's take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we will figure out what all of this alphabet soup is, and we'll learn who Gretchen's mystery guest is on the 419. We'll be right back.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, and Toledo Public Schools, The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. It's Gretchen's mystery guest. She gave us a handful of letters. You gave us MS, RN, EMT, MON, MOM, HIT, ACLS. You could have also said, to really give it away, TFRD.
I did. I could have.
The chief of the Toledo Fire Rescue Department, Allison Armstrong.
Welcome.
Chief, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
How long have you been in your role?
I just started my 5th year.
Oh my goodness.
Does it seem like 10?
Yeah.
It went by fast.
Yeah.
It went by very
I bet it's
fast.
both things, though. It probably feels like the days go by sometimes at an excruciating pace, and then the years go by pretty quickly.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you were the
Surreal.
first woman chief of the fire department. Do you like hearing that, or is that annoying to you? Or is it both?
I really
What
don't
about Gretchen's voice? Do you like hearing it, or is it annoying to you?
Or is it both? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind hearing it because I recognize that stepping into this role as a female means something to young women, young girls who maybe don't think they can be a firefighter. They can't be the fire chief. And so if I'm able to provide that role model for them and that hope that they can do whatever they want to do, I'm okay with that.
And what's the data, if you know, across the country, the percentage of women in leadership positions in fire departments?
I don't know about leadership positions. Active firefighters, it's about 5% for career departments. We're at around 12%
Okay.
in Toledo.
So tell us about your a little bit of sort of data about the department. How many firefighters? I know you have all of that in your brain. The calls that you get, the number of calls.
Sure.
Oh,
We
You have
have,
the number of boots.
Yeah.
right now we have 582 uniformed firefighters, about 18 support staff. We have 17 stations, respond to over 64,000 incidents, with about 85% of those being EMS incidents.
So a lot of people don't understand, and this is something that's happened during our lifetime and yours, Allison, is that it used to be that an ambulance would come, a separate EMT, which is an emergency life support responder, would come separate from the fire department. They would come with the police. And over a period of time, it's changed where the firefighters are also, a certain percentage of you, are EMTs, correct?
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're going way back with
Yeah.
the police department, but they
Yeah.
did. They used to respond in funeral homes.
I do go way back.
She's talking about
Used
when
to
they
respond
were
as
forces.
EMS providers, and that's evolved over the years. So in Toledo, we're an all hazards response department. And so we respond to everything from car accidents to fires to heart attacks. So all of our firefighters are trained to the EMT-B level, which is a Ohio certification that requires 150 hours of curriculum and hands-on training. And then we have approximately 267 paramedics, and paramedic level training is another 18-month curriculum, I think about 1,200 hours, and they're able to provide more interventions, medications, cardioversion, like if your heart goes into an arrhythmia, they can shock it out of that arrhythmia, and so they're able to provide advanced life support treatments.
And they have all of that equipment on the truck when they arrive.
We do. We have it on the fire trucks, the fire engines, the ambulances, which we call medic units in the fire service. That equipment's standard across all of our vehicles.
Years ago, a couple of years ago, I had an incident, was out running, and I've got a defibrillator. It went off while I was running, which is not a pleasant experience. So naturally, I went down. My Apple Watch called 911
Oh, that's amazing.
before the person I was running with could even ask, do I need to call 911? Was immediately connected to an operator, and I mean, I'm not kidding, probably 90 seconds later, Toledo Fire was there. It was unbelievable. I guess when I think about like that incident, I mean, clearly you know from the call this person's not on fire, but yet we're bringing an entire fire truck to that call. Why is that the right thing to do?
Because they're the closest apparatus with the EMTs and paramedics that can deliver that care and save your life. So we have 17 engines. Each of our fire stations houses one engine. Then we have 3 ladder trucks throughout the city, and we have 2 heavy rescues. So depending on where you're at when you make that call dictates who responds. So for a call like yours, if you have a heart problem, you'll have a minimum of a first responder, so which is one of those fire apparatus, being the ladder truck, the heavy rescue, or the engine. And then in addition, you'll get an ambulance with 2 people. So you'll get 5 to 6 people on that incident, because we've decided for our effective response and treatment, that's what we require to be able to deliver the treatment and get you to the hospital.
There's
in
a
a
lot
timely
of
fashion.
there's a lot of friendly rivalry between the fire department and the police department. When you usually arrive first, I'm sure that you would want people to know the fire department usually arrives first, but it depends on the scene. I get that.
Not on a
But
fire.
Not on a fire. That's true.
They'll arrive
Yeah.
first.
So who's in charge then?
Okay, hang on a second.
Once the
hang on a second.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So,
So if you guys are on scene, I think most of the time, but not on scene first for a fire.
So if you think about it in this way, so police officers are in their vehicles. So the way that they respond is they show up for shift change, they have some sort of briefing, and they get in their vehicles, they're driving around. They're already in their vehicle driving around. So for us,
They're
we're at the
lounging around.
station. We're at the station. We could be cooking, cleaning, drilling, all those things. And so when the incident comes in, we have 90 seconds to get in the rig and respond. So because of that just inherent built-in delay, they usually arrive first to a structure fire or maybe an injury accident. And it depends. It depends on the call type. It depends on their location. But many times they'll arrive first at a fire.
And then who's in charge of the scene? What's the protocol?
By state law, the fire incident commander is in charge of that scene.
I know that we will bore some of the audience here, but it's fascinating to me. Can you describe a little bit of the org chart of this? You have 17 stations. You're at the top of the pyramid, but this is almost 600 people that are underneath your leadership. So how is this managed?
Yeah, sure. So at the top of the org chart, you'd have myself as the fire chief.
I knew you'd
Then
say
I
that.
have.
What an ego.
And then I have an assistant chief,
Yes.
and then I have 3 deputy chiefs.
Okay.
And so each of them are in charge of our bureaus or our divisions.
Okay.
And the majority of our people, so let's see here, about 525 or so are inline operations, what we call 24-hour shift. They're in the vehicles, they're responding to incidents. We have 117 firefighters, command staff, and then supervisors working every single day.
Yeah.
So there's 3 shifts, A, B, and C shift.
Okay.
And so those 525 or so people are spread across those 3 shifts so that we have continuous coverage. And then we have about 55 to 60 people in administrative positions like myself and other support positions for payroll, for ordering supplies, vehicle maintenance, all of those things that we need to do to keep that fleet up and running and keep our personnel trained, equipped,
Chief,
and ready to respond.
such an operation.
Do you ever? I mean, I know I bet I can guess the answer. So do you ever miss being in the station? I do want to lend into what I'm sure the rest of us bozos maybe over-romanticize because you were certainly away from your family or loved ones. But do you ever miss being in the field?
I do.
I mean, you save lives. I'm certainly, to some degree, if not the entire reason why you signed up to do this is to be in service of others. And now, I guess I'll just keep sending these emails and having conversations with passive-aggressive
Talk
people.
to that mayor again.
How fulfilling to have to meet with more passive-aggressive people for an entire day.
So I have 2 parts of an answer to that. Yes, I do miss it.
Yeah.
One of my best assignments was when I had a bid at Station 17 on Central Avenue right next to the TARDA station. Houses an engine and a ladder truck, one of our busiest stations, and I had a lot of fun there because I had a really good crew. We went to a lot of runs, a lot of fires. We were able to help a lot of people, and most of us become firefighters because we want to go to fires, right? And so that was a great time, and I was there for 5.5 years. I really hated to leave that because you have that camaraderie and you have that sense of community with that crew, and it's like an extension of your family, right? And so as you rise up through the ranks, you lose that, and then you become more administrative in your tasks and your role, and the running
I can
joke.
see your shoulders sliding down now as you're just.
Well, the running joke is I don't read my emails. I have an assistant to read my emails, because you're right. That's not really an exciting part of the
Yes,
job.
terrible.
It's a necessary part, but
Yeah.
it's not the most exciting. I don't mind some of the meetings. I don't like meetings for the sake of just meeting and talking, but I do enjoy the things that I've been able to do with the department and lead the department towards in the last 5 years. Like, that's exciting to me, and I feel like that's just a different mission than going out and helping people and saving lives. It's something different than I can do to benefit the community, the department, the city.
We're talking with Gretchen's mystery guest, Chief Allison Armstrong. Chief, can you walk through, like, so, you know, Matt decides to cook dinner at home, naturally.
Then the fire department
is going to start. The moment, you know, so Matt picks up the phone and calls 911, then what happens? Like, what are all the things that then fall into succession for you guys
so
to
when Matt
arrive?
burns his dinner and calls 911, so we have Lucas County 911 that takes those calls. So that call goes in there. They will pick up the call. They'll start entering the information into a computer-aided dispatch system that we use to provide us with the address, the hydrant locations, other information, the caller information, what the caller is saying. They enter that all in. And while that's being entered in, while you're on the phone with 911, that call taker sends that call over to our fire dispatcher. So you're continuing to talk and give them information. They're dispatching the resource. So they'll send out what we call regular alarm. You'll get at least 3 engines, a heavy rescue, a ladder truck, command staff, and 2 ambulances. So we'll be on the way, and then the call taker will ask you to provide more information. Is there anybody in the house? What are you seeing? Where's the smoke? Where's the fire? And then that information is all relayed to the crews so they can kind of get an idea of a size up. And
who takes the information in the station? I mean, is there a point person that receives so you know what you're going to?
So we have, excuse me, somebody on watch.
Okay.
So the station gets alerted and it comes over the radio. So the entire crew, everybody in the station can hear it over a radio in the station, and then it's pushed through that computer in their rig. They all have computers in their rigs, and then the dispatcher should be verbalizing anything that you say.
It does have to be evolving in real time, right? And that's assuming all the information is accurate, because it's a moment of overwhelming panic, to say the least. So I'm fascinated by, you and I are in the truck heading to the scene. I'm, of course, cowering behind you, which is where I'll be for the remainder of this question. But you are arriving, the information that's provided is house on fire, 3 individuals still inside. Well, I mean, and all of you have to be aware of the fact that that's what we know. We can take this at face value, or once we arrive, it could be totally different.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the information is only as good as the person providing it and their ability.
I feel like that's a shot at me.
The ability to provide it, right? But you're exactly right. So and think of an instance where a house is on fire and you're getting 10 callers. I mean, you could have multiple people calling all at the same time. They could be providing conflicting information. So we just do the best we can with what we have, but we do assume that all these occupancies, the houses, the businesses are occupied. We do assume that. Now, that risk profile changes depending on time of day. You know, if a business is active or in the middle of the night, we have more concern for people sleeping and people being trapped. You know, do we hear smoke alarms going off? But based on the information that we are provided, we can amend that response. So if we're en route to a fire and dispatch now tells us, hey, there's 3 people trapped, there's 4 people trapped, our incident commanders, our crews have the ability to say, hey, send me another alarm, or send me more engines or ambulances, and we advocate for them to do that to get those resources started sooner rather than later. They can always cancel them.
If you could build a perfect firefighter in a lab, what would that individual be like? Even between their ears, I mean, somebody who handles information, doesn't panic. There's certainly a physical component to this, there's no doubt about that, but if you were to design a perfect firefighter, what would their mentality would that be? I
would say somebody willing to work hard, somebody that can be calm under pressure, and a lot of that comes with training, right? It comes with training, it comes with consistency, it comes with muscle memory. You know, I can train anybody to be a firefighter as long as they're motivated, they're willing to listen, you know, they can comprehend the information, and we ask people to be flexible. This is a job where there's a lot of things outside of your control. And so you have to understand that, and you have to be able to kind of roll with the things and be flexible and not get too stuck on any one thing or any one way of doing something, because there's multiple ways to rescue people. There's multiple ways to put out a fire. We know best practices through research and training and things like that. but many times you have multiple options
Sure.
to get something up, and you have to think quickly.
I bet.
Process that quickly and make a decision.
And that.
So I need people that can make a decision
Yeah,
too, right? I
and
need
react.
people that can make a decision with the best
And go.
information they have and get it done.
Yeah.
Chief, there's, when I was at the city, I had the opportunity to go through some of the simulations that the fire department does when they're training firefighters. And you realize how deprived you are of all of your senses with your safety equipment on. And a lot of times you're trying to listen to what you're hearing if people are in their homes. And one of the things that stuck with me so much was the mistakes that people make, obviously out of fear if they're in a fire or they're trapped, but which is that they make choices that make it more difficult for firefighters to find them. Can you talk a little bit about some of that and what you would want the public to know about what to do if they're in a structure that is on fire?
Absolutely. So the biggest thing is close the door, right? So if you're fleeing a fire, many times the door is left open. And what that does is it allows oxygen to feed that fire. So that's why we always advocate in schools, in apartments, even in your house, to close the door when you exit, because that will give us time to get in there and put the fire out. It'll basically isolate it, and it'll keep that fire from growing.
The door to any room, too, that you leave?
Doors, windows,
Okay.
if you can close them behind you, close them.
Okay.
The other thing is, many times kids will hide. They'll hide under the bed, they'll hide in the closet. We've had adults hide in closets. And so that makes it challenging for us to be able to find them in a search, because it's harder to search those areas. And if you think about it, fully equipped and you have all your fire gear on, trying to crawl under a bed is probably impossible because of your SCBA on your back. You're not going to be able to get under there, so you have to sweep it with a tool, maybe an axe or
I sleep in a
something.
full scuba gear every night. It is very difficult to get underneath my bed. I sleep in a full bunk bed.
I bet you have a bunk bed.
Yeah, it's so awesome. You should see it. It's cool as a race car. It's awesome. A fire retardant, I assume. I hold it down every night in a different way.
But also have working smoke alarms, right?
Yes.
That's the number one thing. Working smoke alarms. Close your door at night when you sleep. That way, if a fire does start, you're at least isolated in that bedroom.
I got a quick closing before the segment, and it's a critical one. What is the best fire-related movie, in your opinion, as we close the first segment?
Backdraft.
Hell yeah, it is.
I mean, we've talked about this.
Yes.
It is like so good. Yes.
We've talked about this
Why
with
did,
other.
what happened to that Baldwin? He like fell apart. He could have been so great.
I don't know.
I know.
He was
plagued
traumatized
with-
by the fires.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, when you're watching TV and you see
Chicago fire.
a firefighter in a movie or TV, I mean, what's a show that gets it right, and what's a show that you're like, that is not our job?
I don't watch a lot of them because,
Yeah.
I mean,
Too many emails.
Chicago Fire, too many emails. I think Chicago Fire is decent, but the problem with all of them is they pack in all these crazy incidents
It's
that may
so-
happen once in a career into one episode, and that's
They
what
all
makes it
happen
a
on the same
little
day.
bit, right. I mean, generally it
Why
doesn't
is
happen
Chicago
like
so
that.
unsafe?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like all the murders on naval bases.
I think the first episode of that I watched, somebody literally ran and jumped out a window.
Yeah.
And it was just
I drive
insane.
GF with my scuba gear. It's difficult for me to get out the window.
That was tough.
I love Backdraft. And Kurt Russell is the best.
Yes.
Axes.
I'm going to watch it tonight.
We're talking with Chief Allison Armstrong from the Toledo Fire and Rescue Department, Gretchen's mystery guest. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to dive into more of your background,
Yeah, me too.
what got you interested in this, and then let's talk about the future of Toledo Fire. We'll take a
good.
break. We'll be right back on the 419.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love CBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story. It's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour. A reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. We're talking with Gretchen's mystery guest.
Man, and you crushed it. This is
It's so fun to talk to Chief Allison Armstrong about. Let's go through some of the letters that are behind your name, okay? What is ACLS?
Advanced Cardiac Life Support.
And is that a certification?
It's
training.
like
It's like
yeah,
a
it's
training.
a certification.
Okay. HIT,
Health Information Technology.
EMT, we've already done that.
Emergency Medical Technician.
RN,
Registered Nurse.
MOM,
Mother.
you're a mother, and MS, you got your Master's of Science at University of Cincinnati, yes?
Yes, in Health Information Technology.
Okay, and so how did you first become an RN? Or did you become an RN while you were a firefighter?
It's complicated. Okay. So I graduated high school in '97, went to Central Catholic. I always wanted to be a firefighter.
I graduated in '96.
Really?
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. Huh.
Matt was a loser, so you don't need to worry about it.
So at that time, they were given a civil service test for the job of firefighter, and it occurred every 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
So I wasn't old enough to take the test they gave in '95 or '96. I had to wait. So in that time, I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? So I started nursing school at Owens.
So you knew in high school that you wanted to be a firefighter?
I knew from probably 12 years old that I wanted to be
From
a
where?
firefighter.
How did?
My dad was a police officer, and my
Okay.
brother, who's 4 years older, was in Fire Explorers. So I wanted to do whatever my brother wanted to do, and I joined the Fire Explorers when I could, and I just loved it.
Is
Fell in love
Fire
with it.
Explorers a group for school-aged children? Or is it a...
Pyromaniac.
Yeah.
I was going to say, my uncle's in that. I don't think it's the official one.
School age into high school. I don't know how, it was through the Boy Scouts of America. I don't know how many of these groups actually exist anymore. It used to be a big thing back when I was a child.
Yeah. So you knew that early on.
Yes.
You get to high school, you can't take the test, you start at Owens, and then what?
So I started nursing school. I take the civil service test in, I think, '99. I bounced around in college as far as majors because I went to my first nursing class, and the teacher says, oh, let's talk about why you're here. And everybody, literally everybody was like, oh, I've always wanted to be a nurse. And I'm sitting here going, I want to be a firefighter. Am I in the right place?
Yeah, right.
And so I questioned that. So because of that, I kind of bounced around. I eventually came back to nursing. So I got hired on the fire department in 2000. And then I finished my RN 2005 and became licensed. And then was on the fire department, went back to school for a bachelor's at Mercy, became a paramedic, became a mom, and then I really had a personal goal of finishing a master's degree.
Do you have to have an RN to become an EMT?
No.
Okay.
They're all separate certifications.
Have you always been a good student? I mean,
Yes.
this is okay. All right.
I've always enjoyed school. I like learning, and that's the other important part of our job is you have to be committed to lifelong education, learning, because things change, techniques change, tactics change, healthcare changes, and so you have to stay abreast of all that stuff to be a good firefighter. But I've always enjoyed school. I've always been good at it, and I wanted to finish a master's degree because I was the first person in my family to get a master's degree, and that was important to me as a personal goal, but I didn't know what to get it in because I wanted something that, well, let me go back to 2001. So in 2001, I fell through a floor in a house fire. I was almost killed.
Oh my gosh.
I fell into the fire. Don't recommend that at all. And so I suffered burns.
Don't fall into
I was off work for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I had to have a skin graft. I had some serious injuries from that. And after that incident, I thought, well, shoot, if something else happens or if I get injured
What am I gonna do?
and I can't come back to work, what am I going to do? What is my backup plan? I
Chief,
had
let me
nursing.
stop you just for a second.
That was in your first year of service.
Yes.
At the risk of putting you on the spot, a lot of people would have hung it up then. And again, it's not a live program, so we can stop at any time. But can you, if you don't mind, it takes an overwhelming amount of everything to get back in the truck, back in the station. How was that? Just a natural fit? You couldn't wait to get back, or there was a process there?
No, there was a process.
I bet.
It was a traumatic incident.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
think about this. So we respond to the fire. It's a 3-person engine. At the time, we only had 3 people on our engine. Right now, we have 4, which is a national standard. So we show up to this fire. I'm new on the job. I have one other person with me, and then the driver of the apparatus. We go into this house, and I'm in the kitchen area. I walk in the side door, which goes into the kitchen, and I can see in the house. I mean, there's a little bit of smoke, but not to the point where I can't see at all. I can see. And so I step into what would have been the dining room, and shame on me, I didn't check the floor like I was trained, like I should have, but I stepped underneath there to get a better look, and the floor collapsed. So I had no time to react, and then turns out the fire is underneath me, which
up.
we've done a lot of training since then to identify basement fires because they are such a serious hazard.
Sure.
So fall into there, by the grace of God, I had a piece of solid flooring underneath me, which is what kept me from getting killed, was literally a piece of flooring.
Yeah.
Because had that flooring broke apart or not been there and shielded me from that direct flame, I would have been killed. So lucky for me, the floor was there. Lucky for me, there was a crew right outside who came in, was able to put some water on the fire. But another hazard of our job is being steam burnt. So, you know, when you're in that situation and they open up the nozzle and put water on the fire, it creates a lot of steam. So what didn't burn me from direct flame was steam. So I had steam burns throughout my body.
When you're throwing water on the fire to put it out, the steam that comes off it is still hot enough to burn the firefighter or anybody that's in the presence of it.
Yes, it can.
We had to walk Gretchen through what the concept of fog was before you arrived. So you want to blow through this as quickly as you can. There's no downsizing, and I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable with the amount of
No, but
courage.
to answer your question, so, you know, during that time I was off, I just wanted to get back to work.
Yeah.
I was a new firefighter, I just wanted to get back to work, but then when I came back to work, I was very angry. You know, I was angry, I was frustrated. I ended up asking for a reassignment, not because of anything my crew did wrong, but just because of the trauma associated with the incident. Like, I just needed to go somewhere different, right? Get a different perspective, just a different place. And through the years, you know, was fine. But that was
Did you feel
difficult.
supported at that time by the department, like with the resources that were given to you? And if not, was that something that you wanted to change under your leadership?
I didn't necessarily feel supported at the time. I felt like I was told that I did the wrong thing, which I did. Yeah. I mean, I did do the wrong thing, but I felt like we were in a different time period back then where, fast forward to now, I think we do a better job of supporting people, and we do a better job with mental health, and we do a better job with trauma. And yes, those are all things that I'm passionate about. And having dealt with it both in my professional life and my personal life, that's important and near and dear to my heart, that we provide those things and that we take people's feelings and emotions seriously. I mean, I care about my people very much, and I make sure that they know that.
Well, they're seeing so much, despite whether or not they're seriously injured the way you were. You're seeing very traumatic injuries. You're seeing people at their very worst, probably on the worst day of their life, people that have been shot, overdosed by drugs, whatever the case is, and that has an effect on the people that work for you.
Yes.
And so what are the things that are available to firefighters to help them?
So we have a wellness and support program, right, where we can provide support. We have critical incident team members that are trained to provide follow-up because maybe a fatal fire or like a traumatic incident, like you said, maybe a child dying or some sort of violent incident. So we have team members that can provide that peer support. We have, you know, employee assistance program where they can get confidential treatment and therapy and things like that. The city also has great healthcare benefits to where those things can be accessed now virtually. You can have your appointments that way. It kind of erases the stigma or the concern associated with going and sitting in a waiting room and maybe seeing people you know.
Right.
There's a lot of different ways that you can do that and still remain anonymous. And you know, there's other programs. There's the IFF Center of Excellence out in Maryland, offers mental health services, addiction services, specifically for firefighters and only for firefighters.
Interesting.
And that's something that's covered with the support of the IFF and then through your healthcare coverage, which is a big asset to the fire service.
There have been a number of incidents lately where homicides are related to arsons. So you're putting out a fire, not knowing, and then a body is uncovered, and turns out that was a homicide. The fire set intentionally. A lot of people may not know about the crossover between the detectives that are in a sort of what I describe as a crossover unit between the Toledo Fire Department and the Toledo Police Department. Can you talk a little bit about those investigators? And
played by Robert De Niro in Backdraft.
Yes, so we have an arson unit, and well, up until a couple of years ago, we had Toledo Police detectives in that arson unit. They have since been reassigned, but their offices are over at the safety building. So I have, I think, 4 arson investigators right now. We're trying to get a couple more trained. So right now that unit is made of firefighters who are cross-trained as police officers. And most recently, we've been sending them to the Toledo Police Academy to get that training. So they're certified law enforcement officers. They have full law enforcement powers, and then they're also certified firefighters. So they work with TPD, though, in the case of a homicide or a death, they will work together with Toledo Police detectives to investigate that and to hopefully find the person that committed that crime, charge them, and then bring them to justice.
We talked about over the last 5 years of your leadership, there's been some changes. I want to talk about maybe one of the many things that you're the most proud of and also the future of the fire department. Do you mind moving into that space for us?
Yeah, so in the last 5 years, hiring, we've gotten hiring back on track. So that's been exciting. I mean, we've seen less applicants for the jobs, but we've seen more educated, more trained applicants, a more diverse group of applicants, which is awesome. We've hired, I think, about 175 people since I've been fire chief, which is huge, to bolster our staffing, to keep our rigs in service and reduce overtime. Oh, let's see, so many things. Well, there's so many things we've done. So internally, we got a website up and running, which communication in the fire service is very difficult. Because think about it, you have 3 different shifts, they're on 24-hour shifts, and that becomes very challenging. So one of the things that we did was develop that website internally, in-house, to provide that communication and to have, you know, all of our information put in one place where people could easily access
That's
it.
smart,
Yeah. So what else?
You're doing some improvements to some of the fire stations.
Yes, thank you. So we've spent millions of dollars improving fire stations because we have 23 buildings, I think now, and they're older, so they require a lot of maintenance and upkeep. We put a lot of roofs and kitchens and concrete, things like that. So that's been good for the department. Vehicle purchases, you know, we're always purchasing vehicles, and it takes 2 to 3 years now to get a fire engine.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
It's just unbelievable, and so we have to plan further out, and they're expensive.
So expensive,
They're so expensive. So
are they still made in Appleton, Wisconsin?
some of them are.
Yeah.
Yes, the 4 we just received are made up in Michigan.
Okay.
So there's a handful of
You were
manufacturers.
impressed by my knowledge of this?
No.
Yeah. Have you been there?
Is that also from Backdraft?
Yeah, I don't think so, but probably.
What's the average length of service of a firefighter, if you know? How long?
Average length of service? So you can get a full retirement at 25 years. You can, and then you can get in the deferred retirement program for another 8. I would say average is probably 27 years.
And why are so many male firefighters so handsome? What is the deal, Chief?
That was actually my question. I text her.
I want an answer to that question.
I am curious, like, so 24-hour shifts, what does a typical shift look like, right? Like, what is that 24-hour period? What makes up that time?
After you answer my other question first.
Just write it down.
I'll write it down.
Yeah,
Okay. So our shifts start at 7 a.m., starting in at 7 a.m. in the morning. So you come in, you have a roll call where you get information from your officer, make sure that you have whatever you need for the day. If there's like detailing or training, we have community events. So they go over the schedule, and then they'll check their rigs out, check their equipment, make sure everything's in good working order. And then we have training scheduled pretty much every day. So depending on what that training is, maybe they're going to the training, maybe they're filling in at another station because they're going to the training. Generally, they'll do shopping at some point during the day. They pay for those meals. The city does not pay for those. They put money together, go shopping, plan meals. And then if they're not going to some sort of administratively scheduled training, then we expect the company officers, which is our lieutenants, our captains, to conduct in-house training on something. You know, whether it's a new piece of equipment or whether it's EMS skill or topic, we expect them to lead that training, document it, and then the company officers are the ones responsible for checking emails and putting in repair requests for things. And then they take runs. They're very busy.
This is such a small point, but one of the things that that we've talked about before is people that complain to the city, they reach out to Engage Toledo or whatever because an entire firehouse is at a grocery store shopping, and they want to know why they're all there wasting time. Can you explain?
Yeah, well, they're not wasting time.
Why
Yes.
why the entire firehouse would be there in a fire truck doing grocery shopping?
So, like I said earlier, we have minimum staffing on our apparatus too. We have minimum staffing on the shift and then on the apparatus. So each engine has to have 4 people on it. Each ladder truck and heavy rescue has to have 3 people on it. Ambulances have to have 2, right? So therefore, if they're going to the store, they all have to go because they have to have minimum staffing on that apparatus. We don't just let somebody leave to go to the store. That was a thing in In the past, we don't allow that because we want them ready to respond.
Yeah, right.
So they have to eat, right?
But they would also respond from the store, right?
Correct.
Like
That's
if they,
right.
So many times you're shopping and you get a run, you leave. You
Yeah.
give the cart to one of the employees, ask them to store it for you, you'll be back.
Yeah.
And you take that run and then you come back. And even if you don't have a grocery store in your district, so there's some areas that have limited access to grocery stores, they'll be out of district, they'll go take runs in that district because we're dispatched by AVL, which is closest apparatus. Logged onto that computer that I was telling you about in the rig, closest apparatus will respond. It doesn't care where you're at if it's your district or not.
One of my favorite things to go into the store in my full scuba gear, like I sleep in, and I fill up a full cart and I just run out because I'm on a call.
You say you have to go to fire.
Yeah. But I don't say where I'm going.
There's a Metro Parks emergency, and Matt has got to get
That's
there.
right.
as
One of the
quickly as
squirrels is
possible.
loose.
We're talking with Chief Armstrong from Toledo Fire and Rescue Department,
here it
Gretchen's
comes.
mystery guest, which means it's now time for
Gretchen's wacky quiz.
All right, Chief, this is the
Even
most
more
pressure.
embarrassing today
Oh
than it-
boy,
This is the most pressure you're going to feel in
You
your
thought
entire
getting
career.
your RN was difficult.
that was a tough test.
I'm going to ask 4 rapid fire questions. Gretchen's going to ask you to describe Toledo in 1 word, and you and Matt will list the 9 best things in Toledo.
Oh boy.
All right. Question number 1. Where do you go when you want to be alone?
To the Metro Parks.
God bless you.
What's a song that you've listened to the most in the last week?
Oh boy.
So good, Phil Wickham.
I don't know what this song is.
Is that a
Christian?
Christian?
It's Christian.
Can you
good.
sing a little bit of it?
No, I cannot sing.
Yeah, good for you. That's right.
Yeah, I'm not going to challenge
right.
that. If you had to swap lives with anyone for a week, who would it be?
Swap lives. Anybody? I think Tom Cruise. I'm a big Top Gun fan, and if you remember the Thunderbirds, let me go up in that jet, and so I've been watching Top Gun because it's going to be the anniversary, and they're showing it back in the theaters.
You want to hang off a helicopter
Yes.
thing? Yeah. Okay.
Mission
I
Impossible.
like it.
I remember I first saw the first Top Gun in the theater in Secor, and if they had the room with the curtains were on the side, they had curtains when they just moved over like this to start. I was like, this is going to be amazing. It did not let me down.
I need more room. What's the best gift you've ever received?
The best gift. Wow, my son probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a gift from somebody, but
How old?
he'll be 18 in July.
Oh my goodness.
Can't
Wonderful.
believe 18. Okay, what's the one word you would use to describe the city of Toledo?
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. All right. We got some work to do here. 9 of your favorite things in the city and or region. So you already said Metro Parks. We'll put that at the very top where it belongs. Do you have a favorite Metro Park?
Do I have a favorite Metro Park? I think I like Wildwood because that's where I grew up.
Me
I was
too.
like, please say Ottawa Park.
I can't believe I grew up there too. All right, 2. Yeah, Ottawa Park is a great park.
Toledo Walleye.
Toledo Walleye. Okay, good start. Keep going.
Keep going.
Gotta have the hints, man,
Oh
if you
my
say the
gosh,
Walleye.
I don't know. Downtown Toledo.
Downtown,
I
love
like
it.
downtown.
Yep. All right. Where do you like to eat?
Someplace that has gluten-free menu. I like Migos.
Yeah.
Most recently.
Absolutely.
It's a cool place.
Yeah,
Nice
it is.
vibe.
Yeah.
How many things do I need?
You just only 3 more.
Oh boy.
What's your son's name?
Nicholas.
Nicholas. All right.
Do
Now
you need
only
to
have
say
2
Local
more.
92? Is that like a required?
All the Toledo firefighters. How about that?
Okay, good.
That's
list
good.
them all by
I'm
name.
gonna give you both. I'm gonna give you 2 for that.
Yeah.
All
Chief
right.
Armstrong, thank you so much for
It was so
joining
nice
us.
to talk to
Yes. Thank you. Good to
All
meet
right, we're
everybody.
going to take a break. When we come
Wait,
back.
guys. How dare
Oh,
we?
yes.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
yes.
This is
All
a big
right.
deal.
This is cool.
you. This is very cool.
So Gretchen asked me to bring something to put on the bookshelf,
course she did.
and my helmet was way too big, right?
Yes.
So I took the front off of it, and I had this handmade when I became the chief.
You're
And
kidding me.
Actually,
We
see the
can't
back
take
of it?
that.
It's been in a fire. So
We can't.
We can't
accept
take
I just wanted to. So I wanted to show it to
Well,
you.
yeah,
know,
we'll just hold
for
it
your
up.
viewers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. This is like a cultural thing in the fire department where people get these, this is like leather, right?
Yes.
And they get them
Yes.
made for custom made for their helmets.
Leather
yes?
helmets, leather radio straps. We have a lot
That
of
is
leather items.
amazing.
That is cool.
What does the 111 stand for in the front
So
there?
it's my unit ID as the
Okay.
fire chief.
I love it.
So
Thank you so
Chief
much.
Armstrong,
Yep.
thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Thank
for
you.
coming.
All right, we're going to take a
Keep
break.
up the
When we
great
come
work.
back, Kate French will be talking about the Great Perrysburg Treasure Hunt.
That's right.
Did I get that right?
Yes, she did.
All right, we'll find out on the other side of the break.
And all the flammable items in it.
Yeah, that's, well, you know what? Chief Armstrong's got us covered. We'll be right back on the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. We are about to embark on a treasure hunt, folks.
Yes, we are.
The Great Perrysburg Treasure Hunt is coming. We're joined now by Kate French and Lacey Zimkevich. What in the world is the Great Perrysburg Treasure Hunt?
Do you want to start there? Oh.
I don't know.
Well, this is going to be a great. This is going to be great. This is a good start. If you guys don't know what it is, we certainly don't know what it is.
It's a treasure hunt that's going to last all summer long. It's going to take people to every corner of Perrysburg. I think we have.
How many corners are there?
There are, in this hunt, there's about 100 of little elements all over the place. Puzzles, clues, ciphers, it's going to take you to every part of the town.
What is the origin of this fun madness?
Well, I just grew up, my parents would throw little treasure hunts for birthday parties and things like that, and then I started doing it and loved it. And I'm on the committee to plan the America 250 celebrations in Perrysburg. And I said, well, why don't we throw a treasure hunt? And then I knew I needed a partner, and this is the most creative, brilliant person I know.
Now, how do you two know each other?
We're Perrysburg moms together.
Yeah, our kids went to the same elementary school.
Okay.
They were a few years apart.
Who is the worst kid?
Who's the worst one?
I'm just kidding. I do like the idea. We all have.
We all know.
It doesn't need to be said.
It doesn't need to be said. We can
there's a committee that's working in Perrysburg to, and actually across the state and country to put things on for the 250th, assuming we get there. So Perrysburg wanted to do something special, and you two came up with this idea, and it's just been going nuts. I mean, people are really excited. You have thousands of people that have signed up already.
Yes, we have 1,500 registrations, but families are registering maybe for their kids. So I think we have about 3,000 people actively looking forward to this.
Tell us how it would work.
That's more than half the town.
Yeah.
Okay. So starting on Friday, Friday and Saturday, we're going to be at the Rotary Park behind the Y, and people can come who've registered, or they can register on the spot, and you'll pick up your opening materials. And once you have this in your hands, your hunt begins.
And you're holding up, just for our radio listener audience, you're holding up a little brochure that has the logo and stuff on the front.
The logo and stuff on the front. It's like a little bifold booklet. And on the inside, there are 12 clues.
How cute is this?
That people can do in any order that they want. This is stage 1 of the hunt. They'll pick a clue, follow it down its path. Each one leads down its own path. Each one's like its own mini treasure hunt. And at the end, there is a stamp location. They can stamp that they've proved their clue, or to prove that they've solved their clue. If they get all 12, they can move on to stage 2. You want to tell them about stage 2?
Oh, sure, yeah. And so on here, well, for the first 12, each one is totally different. And we kind of set it up so that these ones were almost like a training, like kind of gets your brain
training ground for stage 2.
Mindset for the different puzzles and challenges that you're going to encounter. But
so you're just meeting Gretchen, what do you think stage 1 should be for her?
Yeah.
And how much electricity would we have to jolt into her?
Well, we have a handy guide on the back that tells you which of the clues is tricky and which is not so tricky.
This is really involved.
A family can do this, or someone with younger kids at their own rate, spend all summer kind of just using this as a way to explore Perrysburg in a new way, not necessarily race for the treasure,
That's right.
but be like, hey, let's do a simple clue
This should be
today,
fun.
like something
Yeah.
fun to do on a Friday.
Yes.
Do
Yeah.
I have to live in Perrysburg to do this?
Not at all. You can. It's if you do live in Perrysburg, you're closer to everything, and that's good. And you might know a little bit more about like the secret places. But I think there's a lot of secret places that even longtime Perrysburgers
Talk to me
don't know
about this conceptually. How long did it take for you to create this? How many people are involved? Is it the two of you in one of your basements with red yarn and caffeine and madness?
Since, I would say like we started in October, and since early November we have been going like
we spend about
constantly.
a month like coming up with the framework and
the scope
figuring out
and
the
structure.
What's something that didn't make the cut, right? What's a clue or location that you put on the board to say like, oh, we want to make something, and you were like, this just isn't going to work?
I really wanted to like publish like a big 500-piece jigsaw puzzle with like a map that you'd have to go to the library and like check out for a time, but it just
Didn't
work out.
So what's the second level?
Kate, before we get to the second level, have you struggled with your energy level and excitement? Is it difficult for you to get it?
I feel like it's a struggle.
It's so hard not to be excited about this treasure hunt.
Sure.
When I presented this to the
what is your sleep schedule and caffeine regimen?
Because we want to get on board.
No, we'll get lucky if I don't cry like by the end of the day. When I talk about like how much this town means to me and what an amazing place it is. I mean, Perrysburg itself is a treasure.
Yeah. You're born and raised there?
No, I grew up in the Toledo area, left in '97 for college, and didn't come back until 2020.
Okay, you are a member of an iconic Toledo family.
I am.
So when you say that your family, through treasure hunts and things like that, I mean, you are in Anderson.
Yeah, and we knew how to have fun growing up. Like we knew
I
how
will
to
be
work.
leaving this and
We
heading
knew
to
how to
your-
work, but
yeah,
we knew
yes.
how to have fun.
Did you grow up on?
I didn't. We just but you grew up nearby, didn't you? We lived just about a mile away, but we'd ride our bikes to the farm, and just had so many. You can't not have fun with that many cousins.
I will be on the farm today.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited what you guys are doing
Yeah,
over
we
there.
are too.
It has never
But it
looked
pales
so
in comparison
beautiful.
to, let's talk about this. I'm sorry,
Okay,
this
sorry.
treasure.
All right.
Yeah, no, I derailed this. I'm
So
sorry.
you get through level 1, which is that brochure. What happens level 2?
Well, you bring your completed stamped card to our hunt headquarters hours, which are
We'll be hosting them at the libraries a couple days a week and at the farmers market every Thursday.
I love
Nice. I love the farmers market.
Me too. And the library.
hunt
too.
headquarters,
I love it. So good.
and we give you a top secret stage 2 envelope. It's a 9x12 vanilla
for the TV
envelope.
watch.
Super
That's
cute.
perfect.
Yep.
Full of good stuff.
Filled with everything you'll need to get started for stage 2.
Yeah.
Maps and site.
And stage 2 is so much harder than stage 1. It's really
I was
tricky.
sort of, I mean, like I'm not a Perrysburg resident, right? But I'm like, this is such a cool idea. Like this would be a fun thing. Now because of stage 2, I want to do this so badly.
See, we wanted to make
I
it.
want to know what's inside that
Me
envelope.
too.
We wanted to
It's
make
like
it for
a real-
everybody. And for like the first like 3 meetings or so, we're just like, how do we make it so like kids can have so much fun, but also people like you, like the nerds out there who love the puzzles.
I mean, that's an
I
accurate
say it
term.
is accurate.
Yeah. No,
like
I
she sees certain people like that's us for sure. Like we want to make it for absolutely everybody.
So we've got a board game that my brother got for the kids that is a like murder mystery board game that has different clues and envelopes and
like an escape room board game sort of thing.
Yeah, but like you gotta like there's all these things that happen. I don't remember the name of it. But it's similar. All these different clues, you work through it, and the kids have so much fun with it, trying to scab it. And so I just think like this would be a fun way to spend the summer.
Even stage 1 though, like we don't want to like knock stage 1. It's not challenging. Like
So
there
where-
are definitely cool.
Where can people get information? How do they sign up? When does it start? When does it end?
Okay, starts May 22nd, Friday, 10 a.m. You can pick up the opening materials at the park.
Okay.
So it'll be there for 2 days for like the rush of people starting. You can register online in advance, perrysburgtreasurehunt.com.
Okay.
Easy. Go to our registration page, $5 to register.
Cool.
So May 22nd is our first day of summer vacation for all of Perrysburg
Nice,
schools, and
okay.
August 10th is the last day. So all summer long, and you can pick up the opening materials at any time during then. So we'll be at the farmers market 4 to 8 on Thursdays, the library in the lower level Saturday mornings 10 to 2, and Monday evenings 4 to 8.
And if people find out about this in July, they can still jump on.
They can
and
still
do it.
jump
Yeah,
on. Or like if
absolutely.
like your family's like visiting from out of town and you're like, hey, let's like explore. It's just such a fun, you know, like after just a way to like get out there.
And why are things like this important?
I just think we need more magic in the world.
You're
and
right.
I just think like
You're so right.
something like truly like the little treasure hunts my mom would send me through our apartment building when we were young, like all they were just like arrows following it around and it's like talking about core memories, you know? And I just think like, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry about this. Like I think this can change somebody, you know? Like something fun and beautiful like
curiosity.
This. And yeah.
What's the prize? So I
Can
get
it be
this
revealed?
day one,
totally.
and I power through this. I get it. I finish stage 1. I finish stage 2. I win the treasure hunt. What do I
Totally.
He's trying to get it, obviously.
Yeah, I'm competitive.
Yeah, take a few days off. We think it'll take about 4 days or so to do all of it. But
Done. I'm taking 4 days off. Let's go.
I knew it. Nerd. I knew it. But top prize is $1,500 in Perrysburg area restaurant gift certificate.
Cool.
And
Nice.
then second prize is $1,000. Third $500.
$500. Yeah, the top 25 finishers will get a T-shirt. I found the treasure T-shirt.
Love it.
In a custom color, and then everybody else who finds it after that could be, you know, everybody could get to the end if, you know.
Yeah.
They'll get a code for a different colored T-shirt, same logo. I found the treasure.
Yeah.
And they can purchase that online.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So
Such a great thing. Are you hearing from other cities and communities already that want you to do this in their towns?
Not yet, because we've really just kind of started, but we're getting excited.
So you want to give your phone number out now?
You can find all the treasures in
what do we
Fremont
do
in 15
after.
minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, this is great. And I don't want to blow past the fact that the core tenet of this show is bringing on 2 people just like you. So thank you for making our area better.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
absolutely.
So much.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, the stories we set out to tell when we started this program
This is
was
awesome.
to talk about people that care about and love their community that are making it better. There's no question that both of those apply to you guys. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
One more time, people want more information. Where can they find more information on the great Perrysburg Treasure Hunt?
PerrysburgTreasureHunt.com.
Makes sense.
Done.
Okay,
May 22nd
Lacey.
to August 10th.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll wrap up this mystery guest edition of the 419.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, as we wrap up a mystery guest edition.
Good show, everybody.
Man, your first guest was on fire.
That Chief Armstrong knows what she's doing. Oh, good one. Knows what she's doing.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah.
And I appreciate her answer the question about, you know, being reminded that she's the first female chief. She seemed somewhat kind of like, yes, she sees the significance of it, but that's not
right. Defining.
Yeah, that's right. She's a firefighter first.
Yep.
And then of course, I mean, Kate and Lacey, what they're doing is they're
so fun.
They're celebrating their community. We always say that, you know, you could also just be a resident. You don't have to do all of this work.
Right. That's what I
But
do.
yet, time and time again, people do it.
Yep.
So great episode. Thanks to all of our guests for joining us, and thanks to you for joining us as well. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, or 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects channel 30.4. Of course, you can always catch it online at WGTE.org/the419, or download the new and improved WGTE app. It's the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.